In any sport, it's known that the pressure from all of it can just be torture. And in professional sports, a lot of that comes from media. Whether that be big platforms like ESPN, ruthless people on Twitter, or teenagers with 100 subscribers making rant videos on YouTube. But more often than not, specific players are targeted from the media for whatever reason. And that usually comes after an underperformance, like a superstar dropping 10 points in the NBA. So today, I'm going to list 6 players that I think need to show up big time next year to not get scrutinized by the media. And remember, like most of my videos, this is in no particular order. To start this list off, we got Joel Embiid. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm a diehard Jokic fan and was supporting his MVP campaign the whole season, but it seemed like many people supported Embiid. And that was fine by me. He had a great season and deserved it just as much as Jokic. I wasn't angry when he won, and people seemed to agree. But after the recent playoffs where Embiid fell off in the second round and Jokic won it all, the narrative seemed to change heavy in favor of Jokic, and everyone started hating on Embiid. I think a lot of the hate Embiid is getting recently is kind of unwarranted, because the MVP is a regular season award, it has nothing to do with the playoffs. But I have to admit, 15 points in a deciding Game 7 is pretty inexcusable. You can't be the MVP and get clamped up by Al Horford in the most important game of your season. I think the only way to get the media off his back is for him to come back next year and not focus on the MVP and instead focus on winning a championship, because he was kind of campaigning, and so was the media a lot of last year, for him winning MVP, but it didn't really matter because he got dropped off in the second round like every other year. He really needs to fix that too. A shift for Embiid's legacy would do wonders, and I believe would make him a much more likable face in the media. Next up, I decided to put Embiid's teammate, James Harden. Now, I'm not asking Harden to be the best player in the playoffs on his team, because obviously that'll be Embiid, but Harden can't keep choking in big games. Just like Embiid in the most important game of his season, Game 7 versus the Celtics, Harden dropped a whopping 9 points. He had the same amount of turnovers as he did made shots and free throws combined. James Harden needs to get this chip while he still can, or he'll end up like Chris Paul, because at this point, a ring for CP3 wouldn't even do much considering he's barely a third option on his current team. If Harden doesn't get it together soon, his legacy will have a huge stain on it, and people will crucify him for the rest of his career. The next player is a pretty obvious one. I got Kevin Durant. Ever since he left the Warriors, the spotlight's been all over him, and a bunch of questions about if he can win a ring without Stephen Curry. The sad part is he was about a shoe size or 2 away from an Eastern Conference Finals appearance against the Hawks, and the Nets probably would have won that series. It makes it even worse knowing that the team he's on right now is considered by some to be a super team, so if Durant can't get it done with this stacked Suns team, then people will be clowning on him for the rest of his career. If Durant really wants to clear his name with the media, he needs to win at least one more chip as a high contributing player. The next player, or players, is a little different from the rest of the guys on this list. I lumped these 2 guys together because they kind of had the same issues, and as a Cavs fan, it was pain watching these 2 in the playoffs. But the guys on this list are Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I love these 2 dudes. I have like a Jared Allen jersey, and Evan Mobley is my favorite player, but man, did they stink it up in the playoffs. Mobley can maybe get a pass because it was his first playoff series, but Jared Allen has no excuses. He was getting bitched by Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, what, bro? These guys could not buy a rebound if they had $1 million. It was just super difficult to watch. Jared Allen had worse efficiency, rebounding, defense, and overall offense. He basically just didn't do well in any facet. The funniest part is he knows he underperformed, and everyone knows that after he said, and I quote, "the lights were brighter than expected." When it comes to Mobley, his field goal percentage went down by 10, and he just had worse defense. Sorry if this section seems more like a rant, I'm just very angry about it still. These guys are so young, so the media won't be too upset with him, but if this stays consistent and they can't perform in the playoffs, the media will tear these guys apart. Next up is a guy who's been in the news a lot recently, and that's Zion Williamson. Obviously, ignoring the side piece ex-porn star thing, Zion's had a lot of on-court issues too. Out of 328 possible games that he could have played during the regular season, he has played 114. Basically, he's barely played a third of league games that he could possibly play. He also faced a point where the media destroyed him due to obesity accusations. That was kind of funny too. But Zion needs to get his affairs in check and start playing NBA basketball if he wants the media to shine him in a favorable light. He just really needs to stop being so injury prone. I don't know if that means getting his weight fixed or recovering better. I'm not really sure. But if he doesn't fix his problem soon, I guarantee everybody will start calling him a bust. The final player that I'm going to pick is a little bit of a weird one, but that's Victor Wembanyama. I know he's not in the NBA yet, and I'm trying to stay away from younger players that have time to fix their legacy, but I think Wembanyama is at risk of being dug into the ground for the media for anything. He's had so much to prove next season. I've seen people claim that if he isn't an all-star first year, he should be seen as a bust. This dude isn't even 20 yet, and people are treating him like a 5-time MVP. It's super weird. The pressure on this kid is just unbelievable. I just think it's super unjust that Victor Wembanyama has so much to prove next season if he doesn't want everyone online to just be on top of his tip for the first years of his career. I feel really bad for him. But basically, that's the end of my list, and before I end this, I just want to thank all of you for the support you've given me recently. I was kind of just making these videos for no reason, but after some of the support I've gotten, I feel like I gotta make these videos, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like, I appreciate it because it's giving me something to do over the summer because I didn't really have any plans, and it's really just like keeping me occupied. I appreciate anyone who's watched this video and any of the other videos of mine. You guys have just been so nice. It's been great. And as some of you know, I'm not really good with outros, or intros. So I'm just gonna end this the only way I know how. Thank you for watching.